All right, folks, welcome back. This is going to be a little bit of a long-winded video. We're going to make up for some time lost. It's November 21st today. It is an absolute beautiful, she's a little chilly, it's an absolute beautiful later November Saturday afternoon. Unbelievable. It's a little past 1 o'clock. I've got about 2 more hours of dinking around. I can do some rat killing before I need to start chores early, and then I'm heading out hunting tonight. Hopefully sitting by 4 o'clock, which gives me just under a 2-hour sit. So if you caught yesterday evening's video, it was a great hunting sit. Lots of deer, but no shooters, and it was fun regardless. All's well. All right, so we're going to do a big tour here. I'm going to show you what's been going on and everything else. We'll start here. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I've been begging for a steel dumpster, steel recycling. I finally got it. I didn't really need one this big. This is a 30-yarder. I'm done. It's no more than 60% full. I made that phone call yesterday. I told him I'm done. Come and get it when you want it. So I can assume Monday. Okay. This is where the bulls are going to reside all winter. Here's SOB, son of Blaster, 3003. Hey, buddy, you're fine. You're okay. He is going to be joined in about 21, 22, or 23 days by 3006, 30-06 Remington. You got a little snot there, buddy. I talked to Mr. Revel just the other day, and he wants to let basically another cycle go through, and I need to go get him, put him in here, and they're going to be in here for the winter. It's quite obvious these bulls are going to work for me, this one and then Remington. Come August, of course, we're going to start AI breeding July, and yeah, let's not even start talking about 2021 breeding yet. But he's doing just fine. He's got some alfalfa hay there. This is their shelter. Dad had put this structure up here, added on to the shed for horses, and it's going to be an absolute blessing for bulls come wintertime. But anyway, I got some bedding to do. That's pretty obvious. They got their stock tank, and come springtime they'll get some grain. Otherwise, this winter they're not going to get a grain ration. Anyway, yeah, should be fine. I got a stock tank heater all plugged in, getting ready for it. Now there'll be a point where this water hose will be inoperable. It'll be froze solid, and I'm not going to work 3-4 hours a day on thawing these water hoses. I'm going to end up having to haul water by pails here. No big deal. But just to help keep the stock tank thawed, of course, there's that one heater in there. So I'm pretty sure I showed you the round baler, which that new John Deere 460M. We do need to do a prolific dedicated video review to it. My thoughts, feelings, and everything else for this past year. It's quite obviously that's been unhooked. It was completely blown out and cleaned, lightly greased, run at a very high RPMs, and parked. It's in the other machine shed, and it's staying there for the winter. A little bit of maintenance had to be done on the Open Cab 6400. Quite simply, some new battery cables. We thought it was the battery. It's not. This thing's very hard starting, and anyway, she's a hell of a lot better. Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Martin and Roly Poly. Jeez Louise, look at you for crying out loud. Both these animals are scheduled for a slaughter here come mid-December. And the only reason I'm getting them slaughtered mid-December is because I made that phone call months ago. Any smart individuals out there that want to work real hard, put up a slaughterhouse. You'll be busy 7 days a week. You'll probably retire in 15 years. Okay. This girl here, this ended up being a free martin. There's a not so pleasant story that goes along with her. I'm going to touch on it just a little bit. 3 years ago, I purchased at a pretty good dollar amount 8 heifers. She was one of them. I did used to practice a strike 2 and you're out policy around here. So anyway, that's why she's been around for so long. That's changing. This year, this summer, we had a false heat detection. Thought that she was in heat. She showed the signs and symptoms, everything else. Well, it's a good thing that that did happen, because as it turns out, she is a free martin, which means, for the lack of better words, there's no reproductive system in there. That was kind of rude. I'm making a movie here. Pretty upset about it. I'm not going to go crying in my soup, though. What's done is done. But buyer beware. Buyer beware. Yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you folks here is, and most of you already know, those that don't, she was a twin. She was a twin to a bull calf. And when that happens, the heifer calf basically is impregnable. I'm over with my words here. But pretty stinking upset about it, pretty mad about it. I obviously remember where they come from. I will never be getting a head of cattle there again, ever again. Never, never, never. Piss poor management and just not sure what they have for a herd is the cause of that. And I ended up paying the repercussions for it by paying pretty good top dollar for her and 7 others. And I kind of want to stop there. I'm going to start using some ill-choiced words. But yeah, they're definitely ready to go. But it's going to be about another 3 good weeks before they're ready. Excuse me, before they're the butcher is ready. Okay, a lot going on in here. It's not grain time yet, so stop getting excited. Don't get excited. Okay. You might remember from previous videos, I was holding my steers in here for my fall feeder sales. Fall feeder sales, of course, for me are completed. They're done. I'm keeping everything else, and we're going to take a look at all of them. This lot this winter is going to become the heifer lot. These are all beef heifers that I have within minds of keeping every one of them. There's a couple of them that are questionable. We're going to see how they do throughout the winter. Their size just isn't there, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of feeder sales here, I'm all over the place. I was pretty disappointed, to be honest with you, for good reasons, with the first feeder sale I sent to. The second one that I sent to kind of made up for that and then some. So I guess we'll call it an even Steven. Whatever. So anyway, there's a reason they're all confined in here, and I will explain that to you. There's 7 more that need to be put in here. We'll explain that as well. There's a couple of little bunks in here. This one, and then I use this one that was made, of course, many moons ago. They get grain twice a day. Okay, the one good thing about them being confined in here for a pretty fair amount of time, most of these are all weaned off. All their balling's over, everything else. Hey girl, how you doing? Come on, let's not be so damn lazy here. Let's get up. There you go. This is one in particular right here that I want to keep my eye on this winter. We'll see how she does. There's also a small red. This one right here, that's also one I need to keep my eye on. As far as actually keeping for breeding versus selling in the spring for spring feeder time sales. Yeah, there's 7 more that need to go in here, and we'll explain that just a little bit further. The one good thing that I do like about them all being in here, and they got a nice bale of alfalfa here, is they are creating a significant good hard pack in here. Before I started putting animals in here, these heifers, I lined this entire area after I cleaned it out with the bucket and of course spread manure. Lined it with 3 bales of soybean straw, round bales, and yeah, we got a nice good base and a good pack here for this winter. Settle down. This is another one, smaller frame sized animal. I just got to keep my eye on her throughout the winter. I can assure you there's 2, 3, maybe even possibly 4 that won't make the cut, according to me, of truly keeping back for breedings come July. I'm gonna have to set you down for a second. So, I'm not done weaning calves yet. I can't let them roam free in the lot. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So what I'm gonna do, I'm finishing off my weaning Monday. Hell or high water. The other 7 that need to go in here, it's gonna be a crowd. They're gonna have a good 5-day grace period. With all the cows are gonna be confined to the cow yard. So they can't see each other, they can hear each other, and there's gonna be a lot of ruckus, but for everybody to settle down and get that weaning over. 5, 6 days, maybe even 7. After that, the gates will be opened. They'll have free reins to this very beat up yard. Folks, we had our hands full of moisture for a while. It's just starting to dry up. And of course, they're going to get good alfalfa baleage, dry hay. They're going to get their nightly grain rations within these green feeder bunks. And we'll go from there. The goal here is one hell of a big kickstart in their early stages with a good feeding program. And we'll see come spring what we got to deal with. Perfect world is 30. Perfect world is 30 heifers to be kept here for breeding come July. I can assure you we're not going to hit that. The goal is hopefully about 28 though. Well, we'll see. Okay, went and did a small amount of stockpiling yesterday. Got some sorghum baleage here. Continue to be just fully impressed with the sorghum from this year. I have been feeding the peas and oats baleage, but I gave them a break on that and we went back to sorghum. And all is well. All right, this is my rig set up here for weaning. And we're gonna go behind the barn. I'm gonna show you what I do. My method for my madness. This is just your regular small little stock trailer hooked onto the tractor. That's it. It gets beat up a little bit, but what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? In some cases, I have to come through this yard. As you can see the tracks, I did it this morning, and back up to this door, and I'll show you what happens there. I just have that little gate there for a little insurance policy. I'll show you why. All right, we now have our barn full of calves. Yeah, a little bit dirty. Some of them are just been weaned and out of the disgusting yards for about 4 or 5 days. They're doing real good. They're now all on full grain feedings, morning and evening. What I did here is I put a 4, 4, 4, and 4. There's 4 head per pen. As stated before, these are all calves that are a little bit undersized, born a little bit later, need a little help with that conditioning. Good grain ration throughout the winter. Out of the element, it'll prove to, come springtime, these animals are going to be a different sight to see. But it's going to come with a lot of hard work. I mean, it's every day. Every day, you know, twice a day grain rations, of course hay feeding, and then of course the bedding. Going to be going through a lot of bedding. Now I ran the barn cleaner yesterday, so I had a free clean barn this morning. This is what is come from this morning's pen cleanings. Tomorrow there'll be a full-on pen cleanings again, and I will run the barn cleaner. Speaking of barn cleaner, boy, I should have done that 2 years ago, put that new cleaner in, because my God almighty. What a world of difference. She's done in full operations. I've probably run the barn cleaner and spread manure now 3 or 4 different times since it was done being completed. And what a difference maker. Okay, this pen just got created this morning. Easy now, it's all right. You're fine, you're all right. 3 of these are brand new weanings, and then I added 2 from the other 4 pens we just looked at, because I had 5 in each at one time. This pen's a little bit bigger in size, so this pen merits 5 head. And you're going to hear a lot of crying and screaming and bawling out of a few of these. They just got weaned off this morning. They're doing just fine. I have not done any vaccinations yet, and that's my next step. After full-on weaning is completed, and no more of it. And I'm going to explain to you my weaning process this year. And of course, if you don't know what that means taking the calves from their mamas. It's reality, folks. It has to happen. Once the weaning process is completed, done, everything that you've seen thus far will get a full, obvious vaccination, including a pour on the back dewormer, and go from there. Those Holstein calves, which are growing like weeds, this is their home for the winter. This is Dad's project. These are his. And they're doing real good, real good. Okay, yeah, everybody's out sunning themselves. Man, does it feel good. Wow. Keep in mind, folks, we had a pile of moisture come in a little while ago and it destroyed the yards. They're getting better, but as you can see, we got a mess. It is what it is. The brunt of the winter, the entire cow herd is going to be in the cow lot here. They're going to be confined to the lot. All the feeding's going to be done in the lot, and they'll have access into the shelter. Now, if I can help it, and I can, I'm going to keep this with water in it all winter. There's quite a few head of cattle out here. I did come up with something here, and that's one of those tub heaters. Basically, you build a fire in the damn thing. Yeah, kind of. It kind of floats very significantly. I had 4 blocks on this thing, and I gave up on it. I'm done with it. If anybody wants that thing for free, it's yours. So I'm going to keep the water out here all winter the best that I can, and then I don't know if this heater that I got plugged in fact, I got to snag those blocks out of there. I don't know if that's going to take care of this stock tank. I doubt it, but I put it in here and we'll see what happens. There's also such a thing called a sledgehammer and an axe. So there's a reason that they're in here all right now. It's because that's the way I lined things up this morning. I transferred them and moved them from one yard to another to collect calves. And in fact, I'm seeing I have calves right here. What I'm getting at here is I'm going to start talking about my weaning process for this year. Boy, I didn't have any intentions of weaning off some more calves here today, but it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, maybe even a 4th one that we can't see. Oh boy. So basically what I'm getting at here is I took weaning of calves differently this year. And you'll see there's another group of calves right here. Basically, I didn't go after a forced, full-on, big calf weaning. You know, like a 2-day affair, all calves weaned off, away from the moms, out of the yard, where they need to be. I didn't do that. And I really don't intend to after what I did this year. It worked pretty good. We'll call it a casual weaning program. Basically, for the last, well, it's been 3 weeks. Well, it's been 4. Basically what I do is I make it a habit of switching and changing yards. How do I do that? I just pick a different yard to feed in. And they have no choice at all but to go through the corral system to get to the other lot or yard for their feed. And what I'll do is, you can see back there, there's a ring. I put hay in there. The calves generally like to stop in here and go hit the hay for a while. Well, during the day, I come back here 2, 3, 4 times a day, just like we're doing right now. And if I have a small collection in here, worthy of me hooking up to the stock trailer and everything else that goes with it, the gates get closed, they get corralled, they get sent through here, stock trailer gets backed up to here, and easy peasy. Not the greatest setup or operation that you've ever seen. I know that, but it works. It works, period. It does need to change with the amount of cattle that are, you know, here now, and the ones that are coming. You need to understand everything that you see here. I'm adding another 30 to them, you know, this spring. But it works. Yeah, so I chose that route instead of a full-on weaning of dozens and dozens and dozens of calves a day, you know, for a couple days straight, probably even 3 days straight. And it just being an absolute ruckus of a madhouse around here, I took it easy. I think my biggest day of weaning calves was maybe a count of Well, it was actually a big day. I got real lucky that day. I think it was 12. And I kind of enjoyed it, as long as you have the time, which is a real funny word. I kind of liked how I did the weaning this year. I really do. I took it easy. Maybe a small trailer load every, I don't think I ever did 2 consecutive days. Maybe a small trailer load every 3-4 days. Let the cows calm down, let the calves calm down, and then just switch yards and hopeful to catch a group within the corral system. So that's what I got going on here again Monday. I have not forced any weanings yet. Monday's a different story. I have to force it. I want it to be over. And there's a collection of about 8 of them. And then, like I had said before, all the cows are going to be confined to the yard side while the weaning takes place. Everybody calms down. 6-7 days later, they're going to be transferred back in to the lot. And then I'm able to set up the rest of all these soybean bales here for a windbreak, weather break, all along the the separation fence. In fact, when I close this gate here, I'm going to set bales up here, and then I'm going to follow that fence line down, and it'll help out tremendously. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that, getting the rest of these bales set up. These are the 4x6s. I've got a small collection of 4x5s left for a second tier, and then of course I'll be able to set up this elevator for corn silage, which I'm not tapping into until spring. So, or when Mother Nature says to. Basically, when it's not frozen solid up there, a guy can clean off the top layer. That's when corn silage will start. So we're talking probably, we're talking March, mid-March at best. So, yeah. That's what we got going. Been busy with a lot of other stuff too. The bale yard, cleaning that up, all the tires, all the tarps. You know, hauling calves. My sales for the year are done. I am done. Everything else that you've seen is being kept back. Obviously, you've seen all the heifers. You know why I'm keeping them. And all the calves that you've seen in the barn. I'm choosing to keep them through the winter to add on some weight and some condition. And we'll see what happens. We'll also see what happens within the market here in the next 4 or 5 months. So, yeah. Yeah, back to the barn cleaner. If you follow the channel, you knew we've been working on this. It's a brand new outside setup here. We'll just call it the outside discharge. Now the transmission and the motor, that was all reused, obviously. But yeah, what a difference. One guy now can actually run the barn cleaner with confidence. Otherwise it takes 2 just in case he had to stop it because disaster would strike. I'll spare you the details, just trust me. It's been a this should have been done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Doesn't matter, it's done now. Thank God. And thank God for this weather that we've been having. You know, we have had a string of winter weather. We've been snow covered a couple times. That's another addition to why the yard is in the condition that it is in. You know, all these the yards and the lots here, they're quite bad. But it'll dry up. It is now, and of course it will freeze. And this is where the heifers are going to be all winter. Looking pretty forward to that site. I'm looking very forward to getting them out of that shelter where they're all confined within each other. I will admit that I've already had to do some doctorings. Of course, I'm a big believer in New Floor. It's the poor man's Draxxin, and continues to do me a great job. The two calves that were significantly ill are, yeah, they're ready. They're ready for another 12 rounds. They're good. Not literally. That means shots. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, looking forward to getting them in here. Lining these up with grain. It'll only be a nightly grain ration though. A little bit of a heavier one. I will put a science to it. But right now, to keep them happy and calm, they are getting grain twice a day. And of course, I need to, I failed in 4x5 bales, the lack of. So the big rain, they're going to be getting 4x6 bales of dry hay. And I have two other rains for alfalfa baleage. The alfalfa baleage is reserved for these heifers. Don't get me wrong, the cows are going to get a treat from time to time. But yeah, that alfalfa is reserved for the heifers. Primarily that first crop. So we'll see how things go. I did pull a big no-no. You can probably even see the evidence. I opened up the North Hill about 5 days ago. I had to. I couldn't take it no more. The cattle couldn't take it anymore. The condition of these yards. I opened up that corner gate and it was just a swarm of cattle up there. And they found some good serenity for, I had it open for about 3 days. Now, it's kind of a big no-no because I'm very dependent on the grazing up there. Well, they mowed that down to a brown tint. You can see it. You can also see, of course, all the manure down at the bottom. That's where they'd lay at night. But you know what? It is what it is, even though I hate those words. The cattle needed some comfort. They were as sick to their stomach as I was, so I opened it up. I made the decision. If that means I have to put a little more TLC into the North Hill this coming spring, summer, so be it. So be it. But, yeah, that's about it in a nutshell here, folks. I probably forgot quite a few things. Things have been a lot more rapidly busy around here than this 30-minute explanation, 32-minute explanation, 33-minute explanation. But things are starting to calm down. Looking very forward to Monday to finish off the weanings, even if they have to be forced. And putting things where they belong for the winter. Looking very forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting these head out of here too. They're all spoken for. Quarters, some halves, and hundreds of pounds of good Weezer Cattle Company hamburger. And yeah, they get their grain twice a day as well. Roly Poly's been on grain for about probably 4 or 5 months. This was my last born steer calf last year. What are you getting all huffy and puffy about? And yeah, we're not just going to call him thick, we're going to call him a little bit fat. That's why I nicknamed him Roly Poly. You're looking at me at the corner of your eye too, I can see you. He's a big teddy bear, he's a good boy. And yeah. Yeah, you're all right. This is some of the better 4x5 soybean straw bales. This is reserved for winter bedding within the in the barn, just to you know, obviously go ahead and save on a lot of the square bales. We'll take a look up here in in the Hamel, folks, real quick, if anybody's still even watching, and then I got to shut this down. I got to get my sorry button gear and take advantage of this, the rest of this day of what I have in this weather. Looking forward to my hunt this evening, and then myself and another guy are putting on one hell of a dinner this evening at camp, and looking forward to it. Okay. I'm fairly confident in the amount of small squares here for the winter. I'm burning through a lot of them. Pretty confident though, it should be okay. There is no feed for sale here, none. Which of course is real nice in the winter time, not only for me, but for any farmer. There's no feed for sale. I've gotten a lot of phone calls here on small squares too, and it just makes me scratch my head every time that they didn't take advantage of it in the summer. And now that they're out of hay and it's winter time, I just don't get it. But to each their own. The only thing that I might be selling this year is starting December 1st is I'll shuffle out maybe a couple dozen of the third crop alfalfa baleage to the deer feeders. Maybe get a pair of boots out of it, you know what I mean? So fill up that fuel tank, which always seems to go dry. This is the process for the round bales of straw. It gets forked off just like this, thrown down the chute, and it's a little extra work, but who cares? And a huge, significant savings doing something like that versus using all these small squares. I think I've been working and bedding off of this bale of oat straw now for 5 days, maybe 6. So that's pretty significant. Yeah, pretty happy with this. But anyway. All right, folks, that's it. I got to get going here. Video as promised. We'll come up with something tomorrow as well. And we'll kind of go from there. But hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you're having some fair weather your way as well. Hope you got some good plans this weekend, and everybody's doing okay in this crazy world we got going here these days. But, you know, 2 feet forward, nose to the grindstone, keep going. Wish there was more than that, but that's it. That's all you can do. We'll see what happens. But anyway, got to get going. We're going to talk to you sooner and later.